All right, so now let's make our character. I mean, we already made the blueprint for it, so let's just get it set up though. So open up the blueprint, and this is just how a character looks by default. This is the hero character, by the way, not the character base. So open up the hero character. Now for our class defaults, let's just get it set up. So under pawn, we want to uncheck use controller rotation yaw, so make sure that's unchecked. And then that's it for the class defaults here. And now let's come over to the capsule component. We'll just go down the list here. We'll just do one component at a time. So for our capsule component, come down to the collision here. And for the collision presets, pawn is nice, but I'm going to do custom because we just want to do a few things here. We want to ignore the camera. We don't want the capsule interfering with the player camera once we add it. And let's just compile save that. And that's it for here. So next we have the actual mesh. So click on the mesh component, and then this is where we're going to plug in our character. So here's Greystone. We're going to use this one, the one that we imported from Blender. So just look it up here. And you can see that it's not aligned correctly. So what we need to do is we need to rotate it 90 degrees because this blue arrow. So let me uncheck this guy. So this blue arrow is the direction the character needs to face. So grab the mesh, press E to rotate, and then rotate 90 degrees like that. And now I'm going to switch the perspective to the front view here, and I'm just going to bring him down so he's aligned with the bottom of the capsule here. So I'm going to actually turn off snapping just so it's perfect like that. Okay, compile save. Now what I've noticed here right away is that the capsule is actually smaller. So we need to adjust the capsule first. So click back to the capsule here, and let's make the height, I guess, be like 96. Maybe 100 actually. Yeah, so something like that. And then let's drag him back down. And now let's see. Yes, that's good enough for the capsule. I'm happy with that. And the width is good as well. That's fine. So compile save. So now with the mesh selected again, I want to come down to the collision here. And for now, I'm going to turn collision off. No collision for the actual mesh. If we need to turn on collision for it, we will. But for now, the capsule will be our collision. And that's fine, because if we take this guy and drag him into our level, he's not going to fall through the level because our capsule is actually handling the collision, not the actual mesh. So we'll leave collision off on the mesh for now, save us some performance, but if we need it, we'll turn it back on later. And I get this artifact problem. I don't know if you can see it, but I've been getting it in 4.25, and it has to do with the anti-aliasing, this temporal. If I turn this to FXAA, it goes away. So I don't know why it does it. I'd rather use temporal, but for some reason I get those like artifacts, and it doesn't go away unless I use FXAA. So for this project, I'm going to enable FXAA here. But if you're not getting that artifact problem, go ahead and use temporal. And this auto exposure option, I'm going to uncheck it as well. So again, let's go back into the character here. And we want to add the camera now. Type in spring arm. The spring arm needs to be underneath the capsule, not the mesh. So drag it underneath the capsule. All right, so we have a spring arm. Now let's also add a camera. And the camera should be under the spring arm, should be attached to the spring arm here. All right, cool. So with the spring arm selected, we want to enable use pawn control rotation. So make sure that's checked. And with the location, I'm going to type in a Z of 50. Brings it up a little higher. And now with the camera selected, I don't think there's anything we need to do with the camera. No, it doesn't look like it. But this camera is pretty cool. You can actually do color grading and stuff with this camera object if you want to change the color and things like that without editing, a post-process volume out here in the world. You can just edit it in the camera. But anyway, that's the camera. So now with character movement, by default, I'm going to have the walk speed be 500, not 600. 600 is pretty fast. And then scroll down. And under rotation settings here, let's do a rotation rate of 720. Makes the character rotate much quicker. And check orient rotation to movement. Make sure that's checked. This part's really important for getting all the, default settings. A lot of people forget some of these check boxes and then they can't figure out why the character isn't moving correctly. So this part of the course is actually really important. Very short, but it's the setup. If you get the setup wrong, then your character is not going to move correctly. So make sure you get all these settings correct. Go through this video again if it's not working. But now what we can do is we can browse to the hero character, and in the game mode, I can add it to the default pawn class right there. Looks like it's already added. But now when I play, let me get this guy out of the world. When I play, we're going to spawn in as that character. And right now we can't look around or do anything like that. So in the next video, we'll set up the basic movement controls so we can actually look around and do stuff. So I will see you in the next video.